Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello friend, welcome to the course Foundations of R Software, and you can recall that in the last two lectures we were talking about the sequences, and we had considered different types of command, their options to generate various types of sequences in the R software. Now in this lecture we are going to continue with the same topic, but we are going to learn here how to generate the sequence of a different type, that is the sequence of the dates and sequence of the alphabets. Up to now what you have done, you have considered the sequence which are numerical. So the first question comes here, why should I learn it? So you know that whenever you are trying to handle different databases and you want to generate some report or you want to manipulate some data file, it is possible that sometime you will need some particular dates which are in a sequence, like a January 21, February 21, etc. So how to do it in the R software? And similarly you have alphabets like as A, B, C, D, they are in lowercase and uppercase. So sometime we want to generate the sequences of these alphabets. So the question is how to get it done. So why not to begin this lecture and try to learn? So I will try to take here some example, and through those examples I will try to explain you how you can generate the sequences of dates and alphabets. So let us begin our lecture. So you can recall that in the last two lectures we had learned the sequence command, in which the command was seq, in which you need couple of ingredients like from where you want to begin the sequence, where you want to stop the sequence, what is the increment, how you can control it. So that is going to be the by and some other sequences, and after that we also have learned, for example, how to use the colon command to generate a sequence. So now in this lecture today, first we want to learn that how to generate the sequences of dates, right? So sequences of dates, for example, today is suppose 30th November to 21, and suppose you want to generate say a sequence of 5 dates, and the increment is going to be either by day, by week, by quarter or by year. So suppose if you want to generate say 5 dates which are incremented at a annual level, so this will be 30th November 21, 30th November 22, 30th November 23, 30th November 24 and 30th November 2025 and so on. So this is how the sequence of dates will look like. So now the basic command to generate the sequence is the same as we had learnt earlier, that is seq, but the way you are trying to give different types of option like as from, to, by, etc., they are going to be little bit different, right? So for example, if you try to see here the way you have used the sequence command, first you have to give the from. So now this from is going to be the starting date, and it is a compulsory argument that you have to give this value. Then you have to give the next value here as a 2, that is 2 is the end date, that when you want to finish your sequence at what date. So that's an optional. And then we have here the third value, which is here by. So by can be here day, by can be here week, month, quarter or year. So what is the use? That if you want to get a sequence in which the dates are changing by the day, then you have to write by is equal to this day inside the double quotes. So similarly, if you want to get the dates on a weekly basis, then you have to write down here week, and then you have to write week inside the double quotes and so on. And similarly you have here length out and along with. So this length out is an integer and it helps in getting the desired length of the sequence, and along with is the command which take the length from the length of this argument, right? So we will try to take here some examples and try to understand how are you going to give this input so that you get the output of the required type. So suppose first I try to consider how to generate the sequences of years. Suppose I want to generate the sequence of first day of years. Right. So, okay, the way I am going to write down these commands here is it like the first value is going to be here from inside the arguments, inside the parenthesis, second value is going to be 2 and third value is going to be here by. Because here the commands are quite long, so I am just trying to express them in the shorter way so that they can be accommodated on my screen. That is the only reason, otherwise you can always write say from equal to this, to equal to this and by equal to this. That is the correct approach actually. Now suppose I want to generate the dates starting from 1st of January 2010 to 1st of January 2017, and these dates are going to be changed yearly. So now you have to see how are we going to give this input. Well, it is not difficult for you to understand. You see, first I am writing here from, and from I am writing here like this. Suppose I want to give here the date 1st January 2010. So this is going to be like 2010-01-01. So this is here year, this is here month, and this is here day, and this is written inside the double quotes. And then we want to read this value as date, right, because that can be a character also. Or in order to inform the R to read this number as a date, we try to give here a command as dot date, but you have to be very careful that AS, that is in lowercase alphabet, capital D is here in the date, and then after that all other alphabets ATE, they are in the lowercase, and then so this becomes as dot date. So now you already have done couple of such commands where you used to have something like as dot numeric, as dot character, etc. So you now you know that what is the meaning of this as dot date. So similarly, as you have learnt about this as dot numeric, as dot character, so similarly we have here as dot date, right? And this is the way I would like you to learn this course content in this lecture, because if I try to cover each and everything, it will be a very long lecture. So I am trying my best to give you the basic fundamentals. So once I have told you that how you can use such command as dot numeric, as dot character, then it should be obvious that when I am trying to use as dot date, that is simply going to convert the given number into a date, right? So I give here from, and then I try to give it here to as dot date, and then I try to write down here in the same format 2017 minus or say -01. Now after this I have to write down here by. So by, because I need these dates to be incremented by years, so I try to write down here inside the double quote years. And if you try to see here, this outcome will be there. The first value is going to be 1st January 2010, then 1st January 2011, then 1st January 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and finally 1st January 2017. And this is here the screenshot. So you can see here, this is not a very difficult thing to understand. And let me try to give you some more example, and then I will try to show you on the R console. So similarly, if you want to generate this sequence of days, right, and now, well, if you want to take the same example here and you want to change this years to date, months, etc., you can do it without any problem. Right. But now I want to generate here a sequence of days where I know the starting date, but I don't know the last date, but my requirement is that I need 6 dates. Right. So suppose for example I want to generate the 6 dates starting with 1st January 2017. So now what will be those dates? 1st January, 2nd January, 3rd January, etc. So in order to do that thing, you can recall in the case of sequence, you had learned that when you know the length of the sequence, then how you can use the from command to generate the sequence of the required length. So the same command I am going to use here, and I write down here seq, then I try to write down here inside the parenthesis as dot date. So this is going to be your here from. So this is the same format as I explained you, right? And then you have to write here by is equal to days, and then you have to write down here length is equal to 6. So you can recall that earlier you had used this command length to inform the R that how many values in the sequence are required. So the same thing I am trying to do here, that I am trying to inform the R that okay, I need 6 dates which are beginning from 1st January 2017, and you can see here this is here 1st January 2017, then 2nd January 2017, 3rd January, 4th January, 5th January, and finally 6th January 2017, and this is here the screenshot. Right. So you can see here that we have the same command sequence, but now it can be used in a different way for different job. And similarly, in this case, suppose I want to generate 6 dates which are changing with respect to the month. So here I have used here the by days, so I can change here to by here months. So you can see here the starting date is here from, which is 1st January 2017, and then after this I want to get here 6 dates, and the dates are going to be changed with respect to the month. So I write down here length is equal to 6. So you can see here the first date is here 1st January 2017. Then after that 1st February, 1st March, 1st April, 1st May, and finally 1st June 2017. Right, and these are 6 values. So you can see here this is not a very difficult thing. The only thing is what you have to understand that how you are going to input the value of the dates, and after that how are you going to use the command for the by, different options for the by. Right, and similarly in the same example, suppose I getting the monthly dates, I want to get here the annual dates, in which I want to start from 1st of January 2017, and then I want to generate here 6 dates. So the length is going to be here 6, and I want to increase the date with respect to years. So I try to say here like this, and the outcome is here like this: 1st January 2017, 1st January 2018, 2019, 2021, and 1st January 2022. And you can see here this is the screenshot. So you can see here this is not a very difficult thing to do. The only thing is this, you have to just understand that how the things are going to happen. So similarly, actually whatever I have told you here, whatever the output you are going to get for the dates, that can also be saved in a variable, and these values can be used in the further programming. So let me try to give you here an example. Suppose I want to generate the dates from beginning from 1st January 2016 and up to say 1st January 2017. Right. So whatever is the date of start, I try to store it in a new variable, a start date, and the final date that is stored in another variable, end date. Right. So I try to write down here the sequence, say end date, start date. And now I want to show you here one more command. If you try to see here in the by what I have done here, this is here -1 month. Right, this option is also there. So now if you try to say here by say -1 month and you try to give it within the double quote, see what happens. The first value comes out to be 1st January 2017. Then it is going into the reverse direction, that 1st December 2016, 1st November 2016, 1st October 2016, and so on, finally up to 1st January 2016. So this 1st January comes here starting date, and this is here end date. So what are you trying to do? Do you think that when you done the sequence, you had done something like you wanted to have a decreasing sequence, so you wrote from 10 to say 2, and by you had written by here -1 or -2 like this. Well, in case if you try to write down sequence start date and end date, and by say year or month, the outcome can be saved in another variable. For example, here I have taken the variable to be here out, right, and this is here the screenshot of the same operation which I just shown you. So now let me try to show you these operations on the R console so that you become more confident that these things are really working. So first I try to compute these dates which are from 1st January 2010 to 1st January 2017, and the dates are increasing annually. We can see here that this is going to happen. Well, I can reduce here the font size so that you can see it easily, right. You can see here this is how you can change the location of your screen. And similarly, if you try to come here for this command, that you want to generate here the dates which are changing by days, and you want 6 days, so you can write down here, starting from 1st of January, it gives you here 6 dates. And similarly, if you want to do here by months or by year, whatever you want, you can write down here by month, then you can see here what happens in months. And similarly, if you want to do it by here years, so you can see here, you can change here by as equal to years, and it is giving you here 6 dates: 1st January 2017, 18, 19, etc. So you can see here, this is not a very difficult thing to do. The only thing is this, you have to understand how are you going to do. So let me try to just show you here this example, which is very interesting. So you can see here, I store here this variable start date as 1st January 2016, and then I try to store here end date as 1st January 2017, and suppose I try to have here this outcome, that I want to store here the values starting from end date to start date by -1 month, so you can see here, now this is here out like this. So you can see here, this is the same outcome, right? And now if you try to see here that in this case, if you try to rewrite this thing and suppose I try to give it only by months, then you see what happens. What do you expect what will happen? There is going to be an error. Why? You see, this end date is coming earlier and start date is coming later. So don't do this type of mistake. But if you really want to do it, you have to write down here like this, that sequence start date, then to end date, and then you have to write down here by, say here, say months, and you will get here these values. So you can see here, and if you want to store these values also, you can give it under the new variable name, say out1, and you can see here out1 is here like this, right? Same thing. So that is how this our R actually works, right? So you can see here that generating the dates is not a very difficult thing, and let me try to increase my font so that when I come back here next, I can show you things the more clearly. So I hope you have understood that how you can generate different types of sequence for the dates. Now I come to another aspect. You know that you have alphabets like as A, B, C, D, etc. So they are uppercase alphabets, or sometimes you call it in common letter as a capital letter. And similarly, you have here alphabet small a, small b, small c, small d, etc. These are your here lowercase alphabets. They are called in common language as a small letters. So in this R, you can also generate the sequence of alphabets. So how to get it done? That is what we are aiming here to learn. So the first command here is LETTERS, all in lowercase alphabets. This function is going to give you all the alphabets in the lowercase. You can see here small a, small b, up to here z, and this is here the screenshot. And similarly, in case if you want to generate a sequence of this alphabet, so the question here is how are you going to do it? So first you try to understand. Let me try to show you here. Suppose if you try to see this a is coming here, this b is coming here. So if you try to understand what are the positions or location of this alphabet, the position here is 1 for a, for the b the position here is 2, for C the position here is 3, and so on. So now it is just like the index of these alphabets. So these particular alphabets, they can be called by their location, and also a sequence can be generated by using their locations. So if you try to see here, in order to generate a sequence or you want to call a particular alphabet, what you can do, you can simply use this command LETTERS, all in lowercase alphabets, and then inside the square bracket you try to write from to, means the starting point in the index or the location, and then here colon, and then here 2, this is the end point, right? So for example, means if I want to have the lowercase alphabets which are occurring at first, second and third positions, so I will try to write down here this lowercase alphabets LETTERS, then inside the square brackets you will write here 1:3. So these are the locations of your alphabets. So now you can see here that the first 3 alphabets A, B, C, their location is 1, 2 and 3 respectively, they will come here. Right. Similarly, if you want to have a sequence of lowercase alphabets from the position number 3 to 1, so you begin here writing lowercase that LETTERS, and then inside the square bracket you write 3:1, right? And this will give you 3 alphabets C, B and A. Similarly, in case if you want to have any arbitrary positions also, for example, you want to know what are the alphabets at the location 21 to 23. So you can see here LETTERS, you can write inside the square bracket, you can write here 21:23, and this will be coming here as a U, V and W. And similarly, if you want to find out any particular alphabet at a given location, then you can simply write down LETTERS in lowercase alphabets, and then within the square brackets you write down here 2. Right, and this will give you here the second alphabet, that is B. So you can see here that is not a very difficult thing to understand, but before going further, let me try to show you these things on the R console. So if you try to see here, this letters will give you this thing. And remember one thing, if you try to write down here only letter LETTER without S, this will give you error because it does not exist. So now if you try to see here in letters, if you want to know what is the alphabet at the 17th position, what will happen? It is Q. And if you want to have the letters from say 14 position to 17 position, you can see here these are N, O, P, Q. And how you can find out? This is the 13th position, which is here M. So 14th is N, 15th is O, 16th is P and 17th is Q. And similarly, if you want to have it from here 14 to 7 in the reverse order, so that can also happen here. Right. And suppose if you want to know that what is in the letter at suppose here say 18 position, you can see here this is R. And similarly, if you try to see here what is the letter at 26 position, this is here Z. Now what will happen if you try to give any other number? Suppose I say 27, there is NA. Do you know why? Because there are only 26 alphabets. So that is why if you are trying to give any index after this 26, which is 27 here, it is saying that it is not available. Right. Okay, so you can see here it is not a very difficult thing. So similarly, if you try to understand that whatever we have done for the lowercase alphabet, that can be done for the uppercase alphabet exactly in the same way. So in order to generate the uppercase alphabets, we have the command here LETTERS, but everything is written in the capital letters in the uppercase alphabets. And if you try to execute it on the R console, you will get here all these alphabets, capital A, capital B and so on. So now the same thing is capital A is at the location number 1, capital B is at the position number 2, capital C is at the position number 3 and so on. So similarly, we can generate the sequence of uppercase alphabets exactly in the same way as we have done in the case of lowercase alphabets. So suppose I want to generate uppercase alphabets which are located at the position number 1 to 3. So I write here LETTERS all in uppercase, then square bracket, and then I write down here 1:3. So that will give me here 3 letters A, B and C. And similarly, if I want to go in the reverse direction, then I try to type here LETTERS and from 3 to 1. So this will give me here 3 values here, 3 alphabets which are in the reverse order, that third position, second position and first position, that is C, B and A. Similarly, if you want to know what are the alphabets at the location number 21 to 23, you can write down here LETTERS in the uppercase, and then you try to write down here 21:23 and it will give you this U, V and W. And similarly, if you want to know what are the alphabet at the location number 2, then you try to give here LETTERS inside the square bracket, and then it will give you here the alphabet capital B, which is at the second location. So you can see here this is not a very difficult thing, but let me try to show you it on the R console so that you get more confidence. So if you try to see here, I try to write down here letters. So this gives you the 26 alphabets. So now if you want to write down here what are the letters from 1 to 4, this will be A, B, C, D. And similarly, if you want to have what are the letters from the location number 4 to 2, so that will be D, C and B. And similarly, if you want to see here what is the location number, say here 21, you can see here this is U. Similarly, if you want to see what is the alphabet location number, say 26, this is here Z. Now once again, if you try to write down here what is the alphabet at 27th position, this will give you NA because there are only 26 alphabets. So this is how you can actually work with the sequence of alphabets also. So now we come to an end to this lecture, and you can see here that we have now considered different types of sequences of numbers, of dates, and then alphabets also. So these sequences are going to help us in different ways that you will realize when you start doing the real life programming. Right, but my objective was that I wanted to make you learn the basic ingredients of the programming, that these are the different components. So, if you try to learn all these components, at the end whenever you need it, you can use them. So, now my request to you all is that now we have used the sequence command to generate different types of dates, the sequence of dates which are monthly, annual, by days, etc., etc. So, why do not you try to experiment with all the options which I had shown you in the slide. I have taken here only couple of them, and then go back to your lecture in the when we had learnt about the sequence and we had used different types of options of say from, to, by, etc. Why don't you try to implement those concepts over here and try to see what happens? The more you practice, the more you learn, better you are. So, you try to practice it, and I will see you in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.